Life is a gift given to us by God. We live to discover its meaning and sacred purpose. God has destined us to live a life filled with joy and purpose in relationship with Him. We are not left to live without hope and help in life. God graciously directs our steps as we go along.
O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come, our shelter from the stormy blast, and our eternal home. Beneath the shadow of thy throne, still may we dwell secure. Sufficient is thine arm alone, and our defense is sure. Before the hills did order stood, or earth received her frame. From everlasting thou art God, to endless years the same. O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come. Be thou our guide while life shall last, and our eternal home. Our eternal home.
It is noteworthy to recall the details of life's journey, for in the memories there is inspiration and direction for the heart of all who hear. I share with you now the love story of Charles and Sharon Lance, which takes place between the years of 1961 and 2021, as told to me by Sharon. Our story began 64 years ago when my sisters and I went to the Ray Lance home to make a recording for the church's weekly radio program. We were known in the community as the Kloffenstein sisters. We had already been singing together for several years. Shirley was still so small she had to stand on a stool in order to see over the pulpit. Ray Lance did all the recordings for the church. I did not take notice of his son Charles before, even though he was close to my age and only 1 grade ahead of me. We even attended the same church. Perhaps I just wasn't looking. After all, I was only 12 and a half years old. That evening, Charles came home with my brother Roger. Then he began showing up at our house every Sunday on his motor scooter to play softball. A few weeks later, after the game, he asked me if I wanted to go with him to get some ice cream. The softball games turned into Sunday scooter rides, and before long, we were a couple.
I met her out in the hills, who gave my lonely heart a thrill. Her beauty seemed just like a rapid spring. And when I looked into her eyes, I thought of blue summer skies. And when I held her hand in mine, I heard the bluebirds sing. They sang a wondering if the lost girl she married, wondering if the lost girl her heartbeat, true and more than together until death they part.
When Charles turned 16, we had planned to go on our first car date to the school play. On his 16th birthday, he went to get his driver's license. However, he didn't pass because he broke the speed limit. When he was asked how he learned to drive in one day, being a farm kid, he replied, "Oh, I've been driving for years," not realizing that was not a good answer. Not long after that, Charles's mother told him, "Charles, Sharon is not the girl for you. You need to get someone that's a little plainer." In spite of her initial hesitancy, in time his mother did learn to love me. Charles and I were married September 9th, 1961. After our marriage, we moved into a trailer onto the Lands farm. Charles went to work for Souter Manufacturing, making hand-carved church furniture. He worked for only $1.45 an hour. It was difficult to make ends meet with that salary, but we made it. During those lean years, a night out for us consisted of window shopping and happily dreaming about our family and our future. Our first child, Scott Charles, was born in 1962, and we were off and running. He was such a good baby. What a blessing he was. He looked just like his daddy. Soon after that, Ray asked Charles if he would like to do electrical work with him. This opportunity was a blessing. As business increased, Lance Electric grew and grew. Financially, things got a little easier with more income, so we decided to build a house in town. We sold our trailer and moved into my parents' basement while we built our house. Someone framed it up for us, and Charles' parents helped, and we finished it on weekday evenings and Saturdays for a grand total of $11,000. Shortly after moving into our new home, Timothy J. was born in 1964. Now Scott had a playmate. He was practically half grown when he was born, weighing almost 9 pounds. We loved our boys. We liked to call them the boys. When Tim was a few weeks old, Scott stood on his tippy toes to look into the bassinet and accidentally pulled it over. Tim ended up on the carpet, but he was safe. As the boys got bigger, we decided we needed to be in the country. So when the opportunity came to trade our house for a farm, an old machinery, and a very old barn and farmhouse in much need of repair, we jumped at the chance. Charles was excited to start farming, but the excitement was short-lived because of the hardships of the unreliable old equipment. Besides, I wasn't happy with the house either. We were firing an old coal furnace. Our well water had so much gas in it, it didn't always provide water. And oh my, did I mention we had mice in the cabinets? So we put the farm up for sale and then bought 1.5 acres in the woods and built another house. 2 weeks before we moved, our first daughter was born in April 1965, Cynthia Lou. We called her Cindy. She was our pride and joy. She was Daddy's little girl. We thought we had everything and we were ready to settle in. We were very happy and life was good. Living in the country with 3 beautiful, healthy children, what more could we ask for? We were very busy living life. Scott was always getting Tim to help him with something. One day the wind blew over their swing set and the 2 little boys thought that they could set it up all by themselves. It proved to be too much for them, and Scott ended up with a big goose egg on his head that had to be drained. Their little sister was always one step behind them, and whatever they could do, she thought that she could do too. We never knew what to expect next. In March 1967, David C. was born. We had another boy. We had our hands full. He was our bug collector. Therefore, whenever I checked on him at nap time, the bugs had crawled out of his pockets and climbed up onto the wall. We learned to check his pockets ever after that. The children were so full of life and adventure. We were busy but happy. In June 1969, our second daughter, Joanne, joined our family. At this point, we were a little puzzled because we thought babies came whenever we moved, but this time we hadn't moved. She was such a joy, always happy and bubbly. She was our animal lover. She always had a cat with her. It was either Fluffy or Blackie. Consequently, we had many a cat funeral. Her dad would always say some nice words about how she took such good care of her cats, and Joe and I would mourn and cry. The crazy car was the favorite toy in the driveway. In the house, it was sliding down the basement steps on a paper bag, which was always great fun until one day Dave broke his arm while sliding down the stairs and he had to have surgery. That was the end of the stair sliding adventure. By now, as you can imagine, we were running out of room in our house. One day after lunch, Charles and his dad were on their way back to work when about a mile down the road they noticed a farm auction. They decided to stop. An hour later he came back for the checkbook. Yes, we were the owners of an 80-acre farm with a big old farmhouse and a barn. We decided to remodel the house and burn the barn down as we had no use for it. But the kids loved to play in the barn. One day Scott and Tim were playing in the haymow when Cindy started to climb the ladder. Tim started shaking the ladder to get her off. Suddenly the ladder gave way. Tim fell out of the haymow and broke both his back and his arm. Even so, he was very lucky, but it took many weeks for him to recover. We had the fire department come to help burn the barn down. The house remodeling was a family affair for sure. The kids threw bricks out the window as all the walls were filled with bricks for insulation. We enjoyed lots of fun and adventure with this project. For being such good helpers, we got the boys a BB gun. After some instruction and practice, they set out for the woods for some adventure. They were soon back with a bird that they had shot. They really didn't want to hurt anything, so they tried to tape the bird up with Scotch tape. This was an addition to the many life lessons learned in their growing up years. Another BB gun adventure happened when they had a bobcat treed. They got their dad to go back to the woods with them to see. Suddenly, a tomcat jumped down from the tree. Even so, they spent many hours in the woods at play, riding their mini bikes and motorcycles on the sand hills. December 1972, our 6th child was born, 1 month early with an emergency C-section. We named him Jeremy Lee, but Jill called him Jeremiah, which was a bullfrog, since she couldn't say Jeremy. Jeremy grew up very quickly with the help of 5 brothers and sisters. Cindy took him to school for a show and tell one day. She very quickly became a little mother to him. Jeremy thought he could do anything that his brothers and sisters could do, and at least gave it a good try. Jeremy went to many ball games as his siblings all played baseball, basketball, softball, and cross country. We were at every game, often attending 2 school sports events in one night, but we loved it. It is no wonder Jeremy played basketball 3 to 4 hours a day before he ever went to school. When his siblings went to baseball practice, he got his pretend friends, Horsey and Cocky, to sit nearby to watch while he played ball until they got home. One day we went to Tim and Teresa's house. Jeremy was probably around 10 years old at this time. He was all alone at home. He heard a crackling noise upstairs and went to investigate. To his horror, he saw flames around the chimney. He tried diligently to put out the fire, but realized he had to call 911. Someone called Tim and said, "Tell your mom and dad to come home right away." We couldn't understand why, but when we got close to home, we saw the fire trucks, the ambulance at our house. What a scare that was. Jeremy was so brave, though, until he saw us. Then he began to cry. After some repair work, we spent 20 years on the farm. It was a wonderful place to raise our family. At times, life was a wild ride, but we just held on tight. We worked and played together. To pass the time as we worked, we sang songs such as, "How much is that doggy in the window?" When we watched TV together, we liked to lay on the floor of the living room full of giant pillows. One day, Jill went to a slumber party. All she could talk about when she returned home was the fact that there was no floor pillows at the people's house. The family tradition in autumn was fishing trips to Little Eden Camp. We always did family projects together before going to town for the 4th of July celebrations. The little bridge in front of the house was a result of one of those projects. Our faith and our family has always been very important to us. We feel so very blessed to have had a Christian heritage that we both received from our parents and our grandparents. Our greatest joy is being able to watch that heritage being passed on to our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. Do you remember how we sang our favorite song together at home? Have faith, hope, and charity? The words of the song include, faith, hope, and charity, that's the way we live successfully. How do I know? The Bible tells me so. How true that is. The words of this song indeed are words to live by. We rejoice in the blessings of these many wonderful memories. Our family has grown a lot over the years. We are so thankful for each and every one of the members of our family. We love and value each one of you. We would not have wanted to do life without you. Thank you for such sweet memories. We love you all, Mom and Dad.
wave my hand, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. Every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire, in darkest night. You were close like no other. I know you as a father. I know you as a friend. I have lived in the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. Every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. My life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. My life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. So all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. Every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. Every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Sharon, are we okay? Happy anniversary to the both of you. Life is such a precious gift, and it's such a privilege to walk through life with God and each other. And it's most enjoyed when we share it. All right, so the most challenging part of this painting, I might as well tell you right up front, I realized that there's some builders here in the audience, so don't judge me for architecture. I am an artist. But the color of this house was a challenge to get the color with my limited palette. But I did hope that I did it justice somehow. It's a very pretty house. And I hope you could see the invisible scenes in there. I will leave the black light on it for a little while. You can get a little closer if you want to, but I wasn't sure how the invisible painting was going to survive the trip, but it did. So that's the hand of Charles and Sharon. There's a little heart shape right here. It's a little bit of a sunset right here. All right, do you have any questions about the art of the story? Any questions at all? Okay, you can ask me later too, that's fine. Do you see the bridge? And there's Charles and Sharon on the bridge, and their favorite spot right here on the swing. Is that where the swing was? Oh, okay, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to leave the painting here, but the black light will have to go with me. So if you ever want to see it under black light, you'll have to purchase yourself one. You can get them in all sorts of varieties and versions. Nowadays, you can buy them like a black light flashlight. So if you ever want to show off the invisible scene, you can hold it up to light, but you just got to make sure it's in a dark room. That's most important there. Otherwise, it'll cancel out the black light effect.